on that?
Well, if Connor Golson's not heard anything, then I would go and chap the manager's door, and if he really wants to stay, he can go and find out. I know there was talks at the start of the season, and obviously they've dropped off the amount of games and international breaks or whatever, but he is one player. Listen, again, he's similar to a few players at Rangers. He's not played at the levels he did last year, but for me he's a real important player for Rangers. I really like him. I think he's grew into a real good centre back over the last couple of years. I thought he was one of the top performers last year, and if Rangers want to keep trying to win trophies, he is one player that they've got to keep for me.
And he's been a constant, hasn't he? When that position beside him has changed constantly from the early days when it was Katic. We've had Hilander and Balogun and all sorts of defensive partners for him. He's been the one who's always been there.
Yeah, well, if you look, everybody's fit. He's always been that one player that the manager's picked. He relies on him. He trusts him, obviously. When Tavernier's been out the team, either through injury or he's left him out and brought young Nathan Patterson in. He's a captain as well, so that tells me he's a real leader in the dressing room, and he's really important to Rangers. So it is a concern. It'll be a concern for the Rangers fans, because I know they rate him highly, and hopefully over the next month or so he can get a deal tied, because come the 1st of January he can sign with another club.
Do you suspect he wants to go?
I still think he's at a good age where, look, money's different up here than it is down in England. I'm sure he's on a decent salary up here. If he wants to continue to win trophies, for me, he's at a massive club. He's at a great club, so he's better staying here. But listen, it comes down to the boy. Does he want to go back down and play the English Premier League? Because I'm sure there's a few clubs looking at him, because I think he is good enough to play in the English Premier League. But for me, I would like to see him stay for another season or two.
And this would probably, John, I think he's knocking 30, isn't he? He's maybe 29.
Still early, still young.
But this might be his last big move in terms of making money. So that might be weighing, John, on his mind.
Well, his agent as well. Agents play a huge role in these things. You know, his agent now will be looking at the situation. He's not signed a new contract for Rangers. His contract runs out in 8 or 9 months' time. That's all he's got left. January is 2 or 3 months away. It's around the corner. From January, he is able to speak to other clubs in terms of joining them next summer. They'll be throwing really good wages at him, and his agent will be telling him that. So it's a similar situation to Edouard and Christie. Exactly the same situation. Big players for Celtic, and obviously they've cashed in on both players, basically because they're out the contract in a year's time. So for me, it's a case of Rangers, if they want Goldson to continue at the club, he's been a fantastic player for them. I have to say that. And when you say he's played a lot of games, he'd have played with injuries. So that tells me he's got a good attitude as well. To stay in the team and to be a mainstay, you get over niggles. You play, your manager can trust you. Or just get through this one. You haven't got to go and do next 2 or 3 days. Put your feet up, because other players would have been injured and gone, you know what, I can't play. I'm done. I'm injured. Connor Goldson, no doubt, have played all the games he's played. Would have played through a little bit of pain at times, which tells me he's a good lad as well. You know, he's a good person to have around the club. And I would suggest that Rangers will offer him a new contract at some stage, but whether or not he's thinking nearly 30, my big chance to go back into the I don't know. I don't want to look as if I've got my son. I want Goldson to leave. He will do what he wants to do with his agents, by the way, but he's in prime position if he wants to go and fill his boots down south.
Yeah, I know he's well respected in the dressing room. He's looked upon as one of the leaders, as I mentioned before, Rob. As I said, he is second in line if Tavernier's not playing. But the problem you've got as well, and John knows this, the Championship pay huge salaries as well now. So that's what it comes down to, that sort of problem. Can Rangers compete with the salaries even in the Championship? They can't. It's impossible with the money. It's down south.
Tell Alexa to launch Go Radio or listen on the Go Radio app.